OKS Youth Ministry podcast, where three of the OKS Youth Ministers talk about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese, and I am joined by Hunter Puckett and Jeremy Crow. What's up?
It's a Tuesday,
It sure is.
but we release on a Wednesday, so it's a Wednesday.
Hey, I don't know if y'all paid attention. Did y'all listen to the last week's episode?
I heard it live when we were recording it.
Be honest, I skipped all the way to the very end so I could hear our song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
OKS Youth Ministry.
Yeah,
That one.
That.
Yes,
Could you do that again?
real okay.
I don't know if y'all paid attention, but if you do it in Spotify, it has like our episode broke into piece parts.
Oh, yeah, they've started
It
doing
does,
that
yeah.
now. Even on Apple.
Does it do it on Apple?
Like
Like it
on
does
certain
chapters-
podcasts, they will. Like
chapters
it's
or
just
whatever?
different sections of the podcast.
Well, it just automatically did it with ours.
That's
I don't know
so
how.
cool.
It could have been doing it all along. I don't know. But-
Technology.
Honestly, everybody's afraid of the Terminator situation with AI, but
Yeah, I'm a little
I
bit.
embrace that coming.
I'm pretty excited about being.
I would like to see
killed by
AI become a
robots.
mediocre youth minister. I would love to see that.
Yeah. You think you can take my job?
Good luck. buddy.
You think you're essential?
Good luck. The AI will be like, okay, I'm out.
Let's see you survive a lock-in, you big dummy.
AI is way too educated to do that.
Let's see you drive for 8 hours and not crash with all the kids. Speaking
Actually,
of that,
Probably
that
could
probably-
happen. That's probably the one thing that they would be able to do.
I would not mind, and let me just put this out there.
A Tesla church bus that could drive itself.
If
That would
Tesla's
be
looking for the
incredible.
next market, youth ministers would absolutely consider, getting their elderships to buy Tesla buses, because man, when you're, and it just happened to me yesterday. I was speaking from coming straight off of a trip. We just came back from Winterfest, and it's a long weekend, and if you're doing your job well, you really don't rest that much because you're engaged with the students. You're doing whatever they're playing the games. You're doing whatever with them, and then you got to be. You kind of want to be the guy that's up, early, helping the people cook breakfast, because you don't want to be that guy that's
a
late,
lot.
that's sleeping in while everybody else is working. Even though you are going to have to drive everybody home and keep them alive, but that last day driving home, you are spent. And
That's why this is a hack. Okay, are y'all ready? This is a youth ministry
hot
hack.
take.
When you are on a retreat or a trip or something like that, that's over the weekend, you wake up very early that morning and you drive early. That way, you're not like 6 o'clock getting back.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
I've had time, and it's miserable
Yeah.
when you're getting back at like
that
3
sounds
or
terrible.
4 or 5. It's the worst. It doesn't matter where you are. If you get back at those times,
Yeah.
your entire day has been you working, having to drive, and being stressed out about all that. I mean,
I had a really cool plan for CYC this year, and then we didn't go. But we have drivers for the bus and the van. And this year, I was going to have a driver for the bus.
Yeah.
That way, I could stay up as late as possible, and I can just sit in one of them and just hang
Yeah.
out with everybody on the way back.
Well-
but of course, it didn't happen. So.
Having that other person that can drive is such a huge deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
and
for me,
you probably took that big bus.
yes,
too.
the really big one, not like
really-
your little
yeah.
one, but a big bus. And so
Wait, don't you have to have a CDL for that?
you do. And
Yeah,
so
that-
the problem
it's that
is
big
that
of a
Yeah.
bus.
the problem is that no one else has that. That's of my chaperones of adults, and so I have to be the guy that drives. And like for me, I'm not necessarily wanting to go to sleep while I'm driving. I'm just the stress of keeping between the lines, keeping everybody safe, making sure what I mean, like watching everything. It just wears you out. And so it would be so nice if at the 2 or 3 hour mark into the drive, I could hand it up, off to someone else and say, "Hey, you take a couple hours, right?"
Plus Taylor Swift blaring in the background too. It gets overstimulating.
It does things to you.
Yeah, it puts me right out. I'm just,
But that being said, like I would love to just sit in the seat and let someone else drive for just a little bit, and then I'll take back over. But yeah, I was really struggling. I called Michael yesterday and talked for a little bit. I was like, man, I need to talk about something, anything that will keep my brain working and my eyes on the road. So yeah, it was a long weekend.
I'm glad you didn't call me. I probably wouldn't have answered.
No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have even thought to call you. No, what I will tell you this though, when Winterfest stuff this weekend, they did something really cool that they've never done before. At Winterfest this weekend, they engaged teenagers in every aspect of leading. And so, like, even like the MC, like there's a guy that gets up there and MCs the whole thing, and he introduces the speakers. And he tells them, what entertainment's coming up, and he's tells them who's doing this and that, and whatever. They had students, like he got up there and said a couple words, and he said, "Let me introduce you to Logan." And this kid came up on stage, and a high school, student. They had 4 different guys. They did it every session. High schoolers that led the emceeing for the whole thing, and they introduced every part of what was going to happen. And then he'd say, "Now we're going to have these 2 students come up on stage, and we're going to have one read a scripture, one lead a prayer." And then they introduced, the worship leader when he came up with his team. And then they had, they introduced the speaker, said a few words about him. It was just really cool, right? Seeing them MC everything, seeing them lead everything. And then they highlighted at the end of the weekend, they said, "You need to understand that," and this is what we've talked about before in here. He said, "We did an intentional thing." He said, "You've noticed that we've had students up here all weekend leading things." He said, "You need to understand you are not the church of tomorrow. You're the church of right now. And we as ministers are expecting you to become the church of right now, and we need you to be the church of right now in our churches back home." It was really cool. So I love that about it.
It's crazy what happens when people are intentional with the things they do.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to get into, it's going to be a little similar to last week. It's more of a downer side. Last week we were talking about the budget cuts. This week we're talking about big failures within youth ministry. But what we're really looking at is how the failures lead to wins. What we learn from these failures, or how we grow from these failures. Because what we have to understand is failures aren't always the end. It's often the best part, or the growing part, if we allow it to be. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. So I guess we're going to get into it. So why are failures, why do they actually matter in youth ministry?
Well, anytime I've failed at something, I start going, okay, what happened? Why did this happen? How did this go wrong? And it leads to a direction for a positive change, right? Even yesterday, driving home from our trip, I was talking to one of the chaperones on the phone trying to stay awake, and we were talking about, what went really good this weekend and what didn't go great. And I said, I don't mean to be negative about it, but I want to start thinking about what we didn't do well. Mm-hmm. What can we do better the next time?
Well, and I'm glad you said that. Not all the time are we saying failures as in these like big catastrophic things that just explode in youth ministry, but just things that we'd like to see change, things that maybe we had planned out that didn't go our way, or we had this big vision for what we thought the weekend would be like, and it just didn't go that way for whatever that reason might be. So we're not talking about these giant things that really make you like fall out of youth ministry. But we're just talking about these things that just, you had an expectation, it didn't reach that expectation, and now we're trying to kind of maybe backpedal and adjust for next time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's one of the things, I guess we could just kind of go around and share some failures that we've had. They don't necessarily have to be big failures that just ruined everything, but just, little things that kind of hit. And I'll start us off. I was working with a church a few years ago, and they were... When I got hired there, they were like, "Yeah, we've got people that are doing the Lads Leaders program. We're very involved with it. You'll never really have to do much with that except for serve. Like, if they need somebody to, do something or go over their speeches or whatever and tell them how to fix." They're like, "You can do that kind of stuff. But other than that, we've got it. It's a well-oiled machine." I got there, and the first Lads Leaders went smooth, and then the person who was in charge of it moved away in
oh no,
I think it was at the end of November they moved, and then in February or March, the elders came to me and were like, "Hey, you're in charge of Lads Leaders." And
surprise.
And they were like, "And we don't have anything ready. The convention, we haven't planned anything out for the convention. We don't have who's going to be doing anything." And they're like, "When he left and their family left, nothing ever got done." And I was like, "Well, it's already past registration, like we can't go to convention." And they were like, "Well, you better figure out how to do it." And so I just completely went out of my mind, working my head off to figure out how to make this work. And they worked with me. Lads Leaders was very accommodating. They were like, "Yeah, we understand. If we can fit you in, we're going to get you in. We're going to do whatever we can do, we're going to do it."
And they do a great job with that too.
They did so good.
To their credit, they will, when you call down to Montgomery and ask, like they go out of their way to try to help you figure out what you need.
And so they did. But the problem was people didn't even know that we were doing Lions Leaders because it hadn't been talked about, and they were like, we didn't say, and so anyways, it just ended up being, we took like, our normal group was somewhere around in the 40s. We took like 12 or 13 people, and it just was a train wreck in every aspect. And none of the kids they had not practiced at all because the program didn't exist. Like, they didn't do anything at all, and it was just a complete dumpster fire from start to finish. And then after it was over with, like, I got called into a meeting, and they were like, you could have done that better. This was terrible. And I was like, what? What do you mean I could do this
The elders
better?
dropped the ball on it. They put it all on you, and then they complained about it.
Yeah. So that was the experience that I had for Last Leaders, and the biggest failure that I ever had. So
I had actually coming off of the trip from this weekend, I had a Winterfest year where it was one of my first years at Coleman, and so probably year 2 or so, maybe 3, I don't know, but I no, it was year 2. My situation that I was in, more or less, my dad had just passed in November, and we were coming into Winterfest in February, and I was just in a weird place, emotionally, spiritually. I was hurting. I was upset. I was like really, really going through all of this mourning and loss, and just some depression with all this grief. Yeah, I'm navigating all that, and I just dropped the ball, to be honest. Like, on some things, I didn't order our Winterfest registration stuff in time, so we didn't have our check sent in, so we had to pay for it there. Well, when we got there, they don't take American Express, so we had to use, which is what our church card is, and so we had to use someone's personal card to buy the tickets for the thing, their credit card, and then I had to get reimbursed. I mean, it was like, I looked like a big idiot.
That's awesome.
And I was really going through a hard situation. I didn't order T-shirts because I think it was a waste of money, and I still do, but I order them now because there was such a big stink about it that year from some of my leadership who are no longer there. But it's just a frustrating weekend, and I just failed in a lot of ways. And the reason behind a lot of that failure, things that I normally wouldn't overlook, was I was just messed up in my head and going through all that grief. But it caused all kinds of trouble with that event. So it was a frustrating failure moment.
Is that the one where your bus driver said, he'd drive the bus there, but he didn't drive it back?
Yeah.
That's pretty awful.
He thought I just needed him to drive up there, that I had someone else to drive back. And I was like, man, you're the bus driver. You're the bus driver.
Yeah, I'll drive up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think you could drive to Winterfest? Yeah, I'll do that. All right, well, we're about to leave. I'm not driving back. I just drove up here.
How did he get home?
His wife met him up there.
No.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. It hasn't happened yet. But I would say that would be a huge failure.
No. His wife didn't mean it. He just thought that he was to ride back. Like, he wasn't the driver.
Okay.
And also, he didn't.
I thought that
He didn't do it.
I thought that his wife met him up there and they spent.
He rode. He rode.
Oh,
And then he just was a passenger
there
on the way back.
even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
That's great.
I won't say who that was, but I will say I'm glad that I don't have to work alongside that situation anymore.
That's the
That's so
craziest
good.
thing. Like, that is just
Yeah, I'll do
mind-blowing
half
to
of
me.
what you expect.
But it was, and I kind of got raked across the coals after that event for doing a poor job on some things, and fair. Like, I failed on some things, but it was in a bad place, and sometimes we fail because of whatever's going on in our personal life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going through a major ordeal. So
Oh man. I guess I have two just real quick. One was I was
I
interning
only
at
had one.
Flint.
Just so everybody knows, I only had one.
Well, actually, all right.
yeah, I guess I only had one too. Hunter's.
Hunter,
Hunter,
he had two.
what a loser.
He's got two. Go ahead.
Now I just have one.
No, you had
Do
two.
you have three?
So no, I have a handful of failures. These are just the two funnier ones. My first year interning at Flint, I was trying to come up with just this really cool idea. So we decided to go canoe or kayak the Buffalo.
I thought you were going to say canoodling.
No,
That was
the
not
Buffalo.
good.
That's because that's what we did at Freed Hardman for what's it called?
Buffalo River.
Yeah, when you
Kayak to
go,
Buffalo.
interface groups.
Interface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interface. That's just what we did. So I was like, oh man, like we need to go do that. It was fun. We had a great time. when I was registering or signing up for this, they gave me the option. They said, "Do you want the 2-mile package, the 5-mile package, or the 10-mile package?" And I was like, "Oh, well, 10 sounds
Get our money's worth.
10 sounds extreme." I was like, "But 2 sounds just way too short." So I did the 5. We get there, it's 98 degrees, no current.
I was gonna sing a 98 degrees song.
No.
Go ahead.
No current, and it was miserable the entire time. I think one of the kids ended up in the hospital from dehydration. So that was fantastic.
I remember you telling us about that.
It was awesome. Second one was to do with Lads Leaders. We had a handful of parents, just express how expensive Lads Leaders is, and it does get pricey with hotels and things like that. So I made up this, I guess you'd say this. It's just a simple piece of paper, and it was these certain things that you had to do in order to get for our church to pay for one night of your hotel. And I went all out. I really thought about it. And I'm not very creative. I made this really creative paper. I think I sent it to Jeremy, and he changed some things and sent it back. It looked really good.
That checks out.
It looked really good. And so I handed it out to everybody. I'm really hyping it up. I had one family turn it in. And it wasn't the family that was asking for help with the hotels. I was like, "Oh, this is great." So I'm assuming we're not doing that this year.
That's awesome.
But you put a lot of hard work, and you really plan it out, and hey, what's important with Lads Leaders? What do these kids need to do in order for me to feel like we should compensate for their hotel room? So I had they had to do so many things at Lads, they had to do so many things before convention. Their parents had to help out. And I was like, "No, we're just all going to pay full price." And I think so. Some of those parents wouldn't have to judge. I think that's why they didn't turn them in.
Last year,
worth it.
Last year for Lads, I went above and beyond and made it. I sent it to y'all. I made an app,
yeah.
for our schedule. Everybody could get every bit of information. It was so organized.
You were
I spent
so proud
so
of
much
it.
time. And one of the people, and again, I won't say which, but one of the people was like, "I'm not getting another app. I don't want to deal with that." I'm like,
Patrick didn't want to deal with an app.
"Yeah, it was Patrick." So it wasn't. It wasn't.
I don't
it
blame
wasn't.
him. I don't blame
But
him.
it was just, I was like, I was so proud, and it was just like,
No matter what
we're not doing
happens,
that.
Yeah.
I'm always going to side with Patrick.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Patrick's
Amen and amen.
And a woman.
So let me ask you this:
No.
from some of your failures in youth ministry, how has that led to wins in your youth ministry?
I ordered my tickets on time for Winterfest now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds silly, but I got so much grief and headache off of that one stupid mistake, which again worked out fine. The guy got reimbursed. I mean, it was inconvenient, but it worked out. But it caused so much headache. I make sure I never not have those things done before.
When I was negotiating, I haven't been here for a long time. It's almost been 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
What, this summer or around that time? Would be
this
3?
summer will be 3
Yeah.
years. But when I got hired here, I said I need it in writing that I'm not in charge of the Lads Leaders Convention, and that I'll never be. And I need it I need y'all to sign off on that to say that you agree and that's. And so I have done that with every single job that I've had since that. I've had them say that I'm not going to be there. I said I will help. And, I do puppet.
By all means, you're going to
judge.
serve.
I help with puppet teams. I help with
Yeah.
speeches. I help with song leading. I help any of the ways that I can help. I help, and I go on the convention. I go and I support and I do go over their stuff and help them with stuff. But I'm not going to be the guy in charge.
Yeah.
And
I tell you, to me, conventions is so much. I know this isn't on topic. Convention's so much fun to me. I love it. Getting to see all the kids, all the things that they've been practicing all year.
Yep.
And then during that session, all the kids are in different rooms. So you're messaging everybody, and you're getting the times that they're going. You're running back and forth,
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of fun.
And it's just such a great time.
One of my favorite things, I know we're sidetracked here, but one of my favorite things about Lads Leaders is since I got an Apple Watch and I have a way to track my mileage or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I love to see how many miles I get within
yeah.
one LTL weekend.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one I've hit was 38 miles in 3.5 days.
Was it this past year?
No, it was when I was the hotel guy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still the hotel
because you
guy,
helped set up.
but I've started handing off the hotel stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it 1 year it was just nuts. It was just they kept giving us one room at a time. So I'd go get that key and run it to those people across the hotel.
That's
and then
what
I'd
I
go
did.
back and get the key for the next room, run it to somewhere. Because most of my people don't have any idea how to get. When I'm like, meet me at the blah blah blah, they're like, I don't know where that is. I'm like, just stay still. I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
Don't move.
Stay where you are.
I that's what happened. The failure Lads Leaders week. I was the guy in charge of literally everything. So I had to make sure everybody was at their places. I had to get all the keys and make sure everybody's rooms. And if they'd lost a key, had to go get a replacement key. I mean, I did everything, and it was miserable.
Hey,
I mean, miserable.
Shout out to Ronnie Trammell, who is training to be the Coleman Lads to Leaders guy. Like
Yeah.
he's working with Jeff Crane to become the Coleman guy that runs our program.
That's awesome.
Jared
Him and
Ronnie's
Leah,
great.
Ronnie and Leah are working on kind of taking that over time.
Jared Simons has done that for us.
Yeah.
Mark Reynolds has been doing it, and now Jared's
I just handed it off this year.
Look at
So
that.
we're excited about it.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of bittersweet because I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy all like the pre-convention work stuff, getting everybody registered, because that was a lot. But I mean, we're passing in a good hand, so I'm excited about that. So let me ask y'all this: younger in youth ministry to right now, do you see yourself having less failures? And would you say that is that because of maybe experience?
I still fail, right? All the time. We all still fail as much as Hunter, okay? And so
Whoa, don't put me in the same.
I feel like pre-triathlon Hunter, but no, but what I do feel now about it is I recognize failures quicker and I can rebound from them better.
Yeah.
Years back, I wouldn't even realize that I failed or upset somebody, or what I did would have offended some parent in some way or whatever, right? I'm more aware of that. I'm more cognizant of when those kind of things happen.
Nice word.
And because I have become more, able to see that, I can do something about it quicker and be more sensitive to how I'm affecting other people by a failure or a decision I made in ministry or whatever. And so I'm still failing, but I'm getting better at coming out of that failure into a win.
Yeah, I would say I've learned just to be more proactive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like you're just saying you're just very proactive about the situation.
And there's still going to be things that I leave out or forget about or whatever where I fail. But
Forgot
for
the
the
cheese
most
this
part, that I'm like, I definitely get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for when that happens. I
wasn't it like last year that all of us forgot the communion cups after we had like
you mean every retreat I've ever done?
yeah, same
like
here.
after we just had an episode, I'm like,
Speaking
hey,
of-
remember the communion cups?
I leave on Friday and I did not have that on my sheet. to
I'm setting a
remember, so.
reminder to text you on Friday.
Thank you.
Get communion.
Well, and I want something too to be encouraging for maybe our younger youth ministers
think
that
I'm
are listening
kidding?
to this.
No, I don't think you're kidding.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm thankful and grateful.
No. I think this is very important. Something I want our younger youth ministers to understand too is, failure is going to happen. And like I said earlier, it's not on these big scales, but there are going to be certain things that we just don't do to the best of our abilities. We're going to fail in some way, and understanding that we can use those in a positive way, and understanding too, sometimes it does come with just you have just more experience in that situation. Jeremy's one failure from Winterfest so many years ago has led him to being more prepared now, has led to him having a better to-do list leading up to Winterfest itself. And here's the thing too, ministry is always changing. We're always in different seasons of life. Jeremy now has a kid in the youth group, so he's dealing with that. He's dealing with a lot more of like his kids playing sports compared to me and Michael. Michael's kids are a little bit older than mine, so he's kind of a little bit more used to being a parent and also being the youth minister. I'm trying now to get used to balancing having a child and being a youth minister. So there's just different lives of youth ministry, and failure comes with that. But it's making sure that we rebound from those failures, making sure that we adjust, and making sure we learn from those failures as well.
It's important just to know. Jeremy's showing us his reminder to remind me.
The Michael communion reminder.
It's important for us to recognize that we are going to fail. I mean, every single person. What's the famous thing he says? I didn't learn how to invent, like, who was it? Thomas Edison?
He learned a bunch of ways to not invent the light bulb that led to how he invented. Yeah.
He was like, I didn't learn how to.
There's
invent
probably
the
a
light
quote
bulb.
out there somewhere.
I learned a million ways how not to make a light bulb. And so I like that quote because no matter what we're going to do, if you're going to be good at it, you're going to fail. You're going to mess up. It's what's important is taking the next step. Okay?
I don't think you liked it enough to memorize it.
No matter what. No, I didn't. I didn't like it that much. I didn't like it that much. But just taking the next step, people will always say it's important that you take the first step. But taking the first step is great. That's a great thing to do. Take the first step. But taking the next step is more important. You know, when you do fall, when you do mess up, when something goes wrong, you still have to get up and take that next step. And so that's kind of like, you know, when you mess up and you feel really bad about it. I mean, I was embarrassed. And then I got back and the elders just kind of, you know, were getting on with me about how I didn't do this and how I didn't plan it enough and everything. And I felt horrible and I felt like a failure. But the truth of it was it was a one-time thing where I just kind of dropped the ball, and I still don't take full credit for messing all that up. But it was a really bad.
It was very late too. I mean, that was you. They put that on you.
Well, considering that's after the deadline when the pre-convention stuff's supposed to be turned in.
Yeah. But I could have done it better for sure. And it would just, you know, and so
like you said, you learn from it. And it's not just that failure, but like every single year you're going to learn, you know, hey, we did this, we want to change it. Kind of what Jamie was saying on his way back from Winterfest. He's sitting here saying, hey, what did we not do great? How can we adjust it for next year? He's not even back home talking about it. Yeah. He's already thinking about it while it's fresh on his mind.
And I will say, with recognizing these failures, if you're going to a retreat or a camp or a mission trip, whatever you're doing, you need to schedule a time, like plan a meeting time or a window of appointment time with either yourself and maybe one or two of your adults, or just a time that you sit and contemplate on what went well, what didn't go well. And I think that's so important. Like usually we try to do something like that right after a retreat, you know, the next few days, or right after a camp, like at Maywood, we talk about what do we want to do again next year, what we want to never do again because it didn't go well. You got to do that stuff while it's fresh on your mind, while you remember the fails.
Yeah, I just think it's important that we, you're going to feel really bad. You're going to feel like you've just completely dropped the ball. You're going to be worried about your job and some of those instances. A lot of the time, though, it's more of just, hey, you've messed up one time. Everything's going to be okay. People understand that you're not going to be perfect, and let's just move past it, you know. And so it's important to keep that as the focal point of everything. Make sure that you are focused on the right stuff.
Yeah. Understanding that faithfulness is greater than flawless execution. The kids can grow spiritually in great ways at all these events, even though it's not this perfect executed event. Sometimes they're going to grow more from these events somehow, you know, due to multiple things than you forgetting the Lord's Supper cups. Yeah, it's still going to be okay at the end of the day. We're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. Just making sure we bounce back from those mistakes.
I had this is a really fun. I had a retreat one time. The retreat went just unbelievable, and I was getting ready for Sunday morning, and Evan Rippey. Shout out to my boy Evan Rippey. He's awesome.
Cool name.
Very cool name. Cool dude. Just all around super cool guy.
That sounds like a skateboarder on a Tony Hawk game.
He looks like a skateboarder. I'll show you this picture. He looks like he would.
Evan Rippey.
He looks like he would rock out on a guitar while on a skateboard.
Amen.
He's super cool. Anyways, so Evan Rippey, Crowley's Ridge College alumni.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout out Stephen.
Shout out Stephen DeWitt. But he,
I might even say the best missions like recruiting guy
in the whole world,
in all Church of Christ.
No, in the world.
I'd say colleges,
in all of the world.
Very good.
He goes above and beyond.
He's the man. But anyways, Evan. Well, I don't even know what I was going to tell you.
Oh, no. Sorry.
He was speaking at our retreat. And Sunday morning comes along. He's like, hey, man, so do you want me to do the Lord's Supper stuff? And I was like, I didn't bring it. And he was like, well, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know, man. And he goes, I tell you what, if you can just delay it for just a second, me and my wife are going to go grab the Lord's Supper stuff, and then we're going to bring it back. And if y'all could do like breakfast and then just kind of delay a little bit. And so he comes back and he had, you know, grape juice and he had tortillas. And I was like, dude,
that's it.
Tortillas? Why? And he said, it's the only thing that wasn't, that didn't have the leaven. Yeah. It was like every one of them had some kind of leaven in them. And that was the only one that I didn't. And so we did Lord's Supper with tortillas and grape juice. And it was awesome.
I've heard of youth ministers that have messed it up. And then like some parents will run to the store and instead of getting like just the regular easy crackers and stuff, they'll just get supplies to make it themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll have like some of the girls go in there and they'll make it like, and that's such a cool event. It's a failure that leads to a success.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of makes me want to, on my next retreat, like have a group that like they're in, like of students, you're in charge of preparing the communion, like making the communion bread for tomorrow, right? And maybe make it on Saturday and prep it. That could be a very cool thing. That's happening on my spring retreat.
We should only let the girls do that, though. The boys can't do it. Just the girls.
The boys have to speak or something.
No.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy has enough talented boys in his youth group. He's fine.
I've got boys to men.
Yeah, you get the boys to men over there.
That is true.
Do you think that they knew that that's a 90s R&B
no, they didn't.
group when they named that?
No. They were probably about as confused as I was. What was that noise?
I don't know. It was good, though.
They were probably about as confused as I was when I showed up to the Heritage Benefit Dinner and had no idea what hee-haw was.
You didn't know? You don't know what hee-haw?
I had no idea.
Are you kidding me?
They were talking about it the whole week.
Well, there's another big fail for Hunter.
That's crazy. I had something that I was going to send to Chris, and I never did. So that was pretty cool. About hee-haw. We did, when I first moved to Arkansas, we did a big hee-haw thing for all of the older members. Mm-hmm. And I had all of that. It's already planned out, already done, and everything. And
we definitely should have sent it to him.
Never sent it to him.
I heard him like, well, we don't really stay for that part of the entertainment. We just kind of stay for the heritage stuff and then leave.
I'll tell you something that we just hit on just a second ago, and I want to mention this. So I'm doing the real estate stuff now, right? And so I'm trying to sell houses and all that. It's okay.
If you're in Alabama,
hey, yeah, hook me up. But I made an error on something in a contract, and I had to fix something, right? I made a mistake, and I felt terrible about it, right? And it ended up working out fine. It was okay. But I called my broker, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I've got to, fix this issue. Something I missed on the MLS listing, and, just whatever. And she said, well, and I'm expecting her to be like, this is going to be a big problem. What, she's like, I've made that mistake too. And she said, and you know what? That won't be the last mistake you ever make as a real estate agent. And she said, but I bet you won't make this mistake again because you've learned from it, right? She said, you will check this thing every time from now on because you've learned from this. And so what I thought was interesting is that she didn't judge me on my, we were talking performance and faithfulness. She didn't judge me on my performance on this one moment and how I failed. She judged me on the faithfulness of, we're going to continue to grow in this. You're going to continue to get better at it. And there will absolutely be a moment where you have to walk into an elders meeting and you have to say, hey, I blew it on this thing, right? It didn't go well. It didn't happen the way we expected. I've got some parents that are really upset with whatever, right? And depending on how their eldership manages that, right, they could berate you and beat you down and tear you down emotionally because you failed. Or they can have moments where they go, okay, it's going to be okay, right? We're going to continue on. And you know what? You won't make this error probably again. You might make another error, but we're going to learn from this one. We're going to move forward.
And it's important.
And it was so meaningful for someone that's in charge of me to give that kind of grace and faithfulness to me. And I think when our eldership does that, it helps us grow through those failures.
It's important to recognize, I'm one who I try to find any kind of excuse that I can use to get rid of any guilt or anything that's my fault. Any of y'all ever do that, where you're just like, no, this was not my fault. This is everybody else's fault.
I'm the hero. I wouldn't make that mistake.
Exactly. And so I as soon as something goes wrong, I try to find some way where I'm like, I'm not the person. This isn't on me. Yeah. And then I go, okay, it was all on me. But it takes me making that extra effort to just say, yeah, it was me. I messed up and I need to do better. And it took a while for me to figure that out. I'd say several years to really figure that out. And one of the big examples was Ben Hayes when I worked with him.
Yeah.
I saw him do something, and I don't even remember what it was, but I remember going to an elders meeting, and he was just like, "Hey guys, I just really messed up. And I need y'all to forgive me." And I was like, "Dude, he could have just said, it was somebody else's fault or something." And I was thinking
played it off,
or just something. And he didn't. He went in. And he was
owned
like,
it.
"I just really messed up here, and I need y'all to help me out with this. And I'm sorry. And people are going to be really upset, and people are upset with me. But it's my fault, and I'm going to do better to make." And I was like, that right there is what I want to be. I want to be able to do that and not have any, And since then, that's kind of where I've done. When there's something that happens, it's my fault.
Address it, own it, move on.
Yeah, and move on. And that's important to do. Don't think you got to make up some excuse because you got to protect yourself or whatever. No, just own
don't
it.
hide it to try to fix it so nobody knows.
Right. Just own it Admit it. Admit the failure, and then move on. Go take your next step and do it. So.
Well, and if we have elders listening, show mercy. Understand that we aren't perfect, just like nobody is perfect.
Neither are they.
And they aren't perfect either, and they've messed up in their eldership most likely, and understand that we're going to mess up in our youth ministry, and to show everybody love and see how we can grow from it. So that's really big as well.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you have one last thing you want to say?
Well, I was going to say, for young guys coming into this stuff, I think a heavy listener audience we have is younger youth ministers.
It is.
You're going to mess something up, right? You're absolutely going to fail. We hope you don't. We hope you're incredible and you're way better at this than we ever have been, but you're going to fail, and you need to recognize that and expect it. Doesn't mean you need to be okay with it. You want to get better and not failing, but be prepared for it. And when that happens, address it correctly and move forward. Don't be afraid of that moment to happen.
And sometimes because you failed in the past, it can set you up to be even better in the future. The next event that you have, that one failure could be the thing that keeps you, planning and remembering the most important part of a trip or whatever. So keep those things in mind. Hey, we are going to do a service for you, right? Was that what we're doing?
I thought that's what Jeremy was going to say when I said, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah. So tell us, Jeremy, what are you going to do?
I was just going to say, if you would email us your retreat dates.
Wait, what's the email address?
It's okayustyouthministry@gmail.com. okayustyouthministry@gmail.com.
I'm glad our email wasn't linked to our website.
Yes. Yeah, that's
What
you
website?
can always depend on Google to be there.
What website are you talking about?
No one would know.
Rest in peace. So I will say, if you will email us your upcoming retreat dates, maybe you've got one just around the corner. Like Michael has a retreat February 20th to 22nd, right?
Yes.
He's got one coming up this Friday. If you will send us your retreat dates, we will send a reminder to you on the Friday morning that you are leaving for retreat and say, hey, dude, don't forget the communion.
Yep.
Because you will. You'll forget it if we don't.
I do.
So that's the service we're going to provide. If
go.
you'll send us your dates, I will set a reminder to remind you to get the communion.
For a subscription of
every time.
$99.99 for the year, we will send you
Reminders
a text.
is not yet a sponsor, but soon they're going to sponsor us.
Hey, we need to get that website.
CommunionReminders.com.
CommunionReminders.com.
Let me get on Hover and buy the site.
Yeah, get on Hover.
Well, hey, listen, we hope that you are enjoying your ministry. This is the outro. Yeah, I do want to say this, though. We will have a booth at Lads Leaders this year in Nashville. So if you're in Nashville for Lads Leaders, come by the booth, say hey, spend some time with us, talk about youth ministry. We love doing that if we're there. I don't know if we're going to have kids running the booth again or not. I'm not sure.
I've had somebody reach out to me. We'll discuss that. But I will say, I do want to make note, just a reminder, that we have been sponsored
That's right.
by a donor for our vendor booth. And we're still accepting sponsors for our M2I booth. Lucas?
So come hang out with us at Lads Leaders. We'd love to be able to talk to you, sit down. If you ever have questions, come up, ask us some questions, or email us to the email that we mentioned earlier. Email us some questions that you have, and we could answer those on the podcast as well. We'll leave names out, or we'll throw your name in there if you want it. But I believe that's it.
Yeah, we hope your ministry's blessed.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry. Go and follow us on Instagram and check out okayustyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the OKS youth minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.